On the third medium, third long, on the game plan stuff like that.
Coach, can you scoot up a little bit?
Yeah.
Please.
We talked to you 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. You were like, hey, I welcome the pressure. I want to know if talk about the offensive line. Is ready for it? We're now in spring practice. How do you feel about that?
Really good. Guys been competing. We got to play the game a little bit today for the first time versus the defense, so it was good for the kids to go out and play the game. But still the same. We're rolling a lot of guys, so I know that question will come up at some point. The answer is I still don't know. We're rolling a ton of guys with the ones, and we like it that way. So you're getting to see some young guys that haven't played do some things. You're getting to see some guys, do some positions that they might not have started at that they're moving to. But yeah, just getting out and be able to kind of part a whole of individual, group work, working with Larry's guys. We're doing a lot of stuff with the D-line, technique and fundamental work, and then getting to play the game a little bit at the end. That's been a lot of fun.
Justin, I have the position. John Frye is probably the most short thing tackle. What have you seen from him? He seems like a pretty confident guy.
Yeah, Ryan said it really well after practice. You get to a spring and it's a new for everybody, right? We have everybody, new titles, new age groups, new positions, new freshmen to sophomore. I think Josh so far in spring has just embraced that role of like, okay, I'm now the next year guy. I'm the veteran guy in the room now. I've played some, I've been around the expectations. So he's probably embraced that the best just in his preparation and his overall understanding or being proactive in things that may happen to play that position out on the edge. And so I've been really pleased so far with just kind of how he's trying to take the next step in training and the limited practices at and how hard he goes, and then situationally when to use what technique and those things. We've seen that come out of him a little bit.
Justin, I asked Coach Day about just about the center position, who's coming on there, and he said Carson Hinsman, the guy that's really coming on. What are you seeing out of Carson Hinsman, and just kind of what stands out about him?
Well, the same deal. He's getting thrust in. If you think he's not even been here 12 months. So 12 months ago from now, he was still like baling hay and knocking icicles off the barn up in Wisconsin. So now there's Mike Hall and Tyleek and all those guys in front of him. Just getting out and competing that way has been good to see. Because you never know how these guys are going to go until you let them go play the game. And so obviously we don't have games, but taking those live reps, he's embraced it. He's won some and he's lost some, so you got to learn from those, right? And the same with Victor. Victor played tackle last year. We brought Victor in here to be the inside guy. So now we just talked about a little bit with Josh, like adding the element of putting a ball in your hand and blocking the nose guard at Ohio State. There's some adjustment there, but I think those guys that really haven't done a lot are biting into it. Toby's floating around and getting some center reps too and doing a good job. He's another year older, so his understanding's helping him play a little better. And then you got Josh Padilla, who's the same guy. He played tackle at Wayne, and now all of a sudden, hey, here's the football. So you're playing one-handed. And it's not wrestling in the shot for a state tournament, and it's not playing, Springfield anymore. You're playing a really good defense. So all those guys, they're taking their lumps, and they've shown some really good stuff so far.
Center's kind of the quarterback of the offensive line. How important is it to find a guy by the end of spring that you're really confident in?
Yeah, you'd like to, but you can't timestamp it. You go the other way. We've got, this was practice 4. So we have 11 practices left here and another 30 plus in fall camp. So you could look at it that way. It's kind of the tone you take, but no, the expectation for these guys right now is we've talked about it in spring ball. And, you just got to embrace the process, right? If you love the process will love you back. So today was practice 4, and we played ball, and we had some good reps, and we had some bad reps. So how do we enhance the good ones, and how do we get better off the ones we lost?
Justin, Josh mentioned about midway through last year where his confidence was really on the click. Have you seen a difference in him from midway through last year to now?
Well, we talked about that last year with Josh. Being number 6 is the hardest position to be for linemen because he wore 41. He went in some of our extra lineman packages. Knowing he was right there, but you really couldn't get over the cusp, right? And guys take that 2 ways. They go in cruise control and put the governor on, or they just keep fighting and battling because I'm the next up guy and it might be me. And he got to start the 1 week. He played Indiana, played the home school, home state school, which was good. And so, yeah, I think him feeling like starting to bear fruit, like I can really do this. This is the build-up. My knee's feeling better. I'm off the injury. A lot of those things do. And then just as I alluded to before, where now he's playing the position to own the position. He's not just taking reps. He's using the reps, and that's shown to him so far.
How have you seen his chemistry with Donovan on a site tour?
Those guys, our room, like chemistry-wise, like I say this all the time, we have great dudes in our room. So for them to be hanging out outside of here and the brotherhood and all those things, like that's not cliche and BS here. Like they live that. So from a chemistry, like at the end of the day, whether you like them or you don't, they love each other. Like the guard next to the tackle better know what the hell they're doing because we got to put the guys together most of the time. So continually working on it, but it's really good.
I know you can't speak about specific recruits, but how is offensive line recruiting going for you, and how much do you think it's going to help having like Paris Johnson being a first-round pick and two other guys that are going to be high picks? How much do you think that's going to help you guys?
I think you come to Ohio State to be a first-round pick. We offer kids to come to Ohio State to be the best version of themselves. And so, yeah, I mean, you guys are going to help recruiting? Yeah. What is a change in recruiting? You got to evaluate the right people. You got to bring in the right people, and you got to make sure that you develop the kids, and you got to build relationships that way with the players in the room as they continue to grow. I mean, you look at that like my answer to that is like you got Tegra, you got Carson, you got George, you got Avery. Like I wasn't involved with those guys at all, except for Carson, making sure we brought him home at the end, right? So your common ground is they want to be great, we want to make you great. This is a place to be great. If you have that opportunity and you take it, then that generally doesn't fail, right? And so now you look at these young kids that we have coming in. They all should be going to prom in 6 weeks, not getting ready for the spring game on April 15th, right? So they're out here doing that, and they felt comfortable enough to do that, and we obviously felt comfortable enough to make them want to do that. So to see Paris and Luke and DeJuan doing what they were doing the other day, and then now knowing I have that opportunity if I work hard like that, if I execute that way, then yeah, that's great for recruits.
How do you feel like 2024 recruiting is going for the O-line and beyond?
Have we signed? Is that the sign that's coming in
No,
December?
you can't speak on specifics.
Yeah.
Just like in general, how do you feel like recruiting is going? Are you happy with it?
Oh, I love recruiting. I love talking to high school coaches. I love when kids come to visit. Yeah, that's the lifeblood. Recruiting in general, put a number on that. I love recruits. Absolutely.
Talking to Tegra, one thing he talked about last year when he came in, he wanted to take everyone's head off. He wanted to attack, and he had to learn to stay calm against elite defensive ends like JT and Jack. How have you seen him grow in that area, and then what's the importance of balancing those two things for an offensive line?
That's a big, long, loaded question. We go off base bin, balance, and burst, and so trimming the fat and getting every guy you get comes in and they're elite. Like Tegra's an elite level player in high school. He's an All-American. The All-Star games, he does all this stuff. Then he shows up here and he's Tegra, the freshman. So yeah, for him to see that, good. Now, how do you get back to playing to your level? You work through those base fundamentals. Ryan talked about today. We have great effort and technique. That's what we're focused on today. So if you're a high-level player and you have great effort and great technique, then you'll produce high level. Younger guys, on top of that, though, have, well, do I go right or left? Do I have this guy or that guy? Do I have this? So there's some more stuff that's spinning in their head. So the more you can dive into that and slow that down, then they're able to play faster again. So I'm really happy with what he's doing and really unhappy with 2 or 3 plays that he did today because he didn't block the right guy. But his attitude's great. He's so passionate about being his best version of himself. He's so passionate about being a great football player, and we're just trying to stack those days on top of each other.
Carson specifically, did you see a light come on in him in bowl practice? I mean, Luke Whipper indicated that yesterday. And has it continued to brighten, I guess?
I mean, you saw flashes.
Yeah.
To where he was doing things that maybe true freshmen shouldn't do all the time or normally don't do. So if you mean like light coming on there, like, yeah, you'd watch some clips and be like, oh, damn, that was good. Who is that? Oh, it was Carson. All right, here we go. Yeah. But I think that's the natural progression for a guy. Just like we talk about with Tegra, like he wants to be really good. He's on him. He's his hardest critic now, and so he's in extra all the time on top of the film study, and he's all over it. He wants to be really good that way. So that's going to continue to happen again. I'm just repeat myself, but like he's a high-level talent that just is figuring out how to play at 296 pounds, just figuring out how to play full speed. But if you continue to work, then it's going to keep happening that way.
And these guys are human too, as you will. I mean, when they see a vacancy there, when they see a vacancy there, as opposed to there's an entrenched dude, you know what I mean? I mean, like Luke Whipper for 2 years was a pretty good player. You know? Yeah. I mean, do you notice that change their attitudes?
I mean, I think it becomes more real. Yeah, when all of a sudden with a guy like now, like you're fighting for your life and to be the guy versus, well, it's not just another rep thing and I didn't get it, but maybe there's another one I got time, and then now all of a sudden the time is now to try to grab it. Yeah, but it's all positive. It's a good fight of, like we talked about that at practice. Everybody, a lot of guys are fighting for their football life. What does that mean? Like there's open doors, there's open spots. How do I go get them?
Zen was talking about kind of giving these guys a runway this spring to make some mistakes and build on them. Is that kind of an adventure for you, knowing that last year you maybe a little bit doing that with Barris, but knowing how polished Barris was already considered what he is. Now you're kind of giving these guys a little bit of a leeway to make those mistakes now and let them build on them.
Well, they need to learn from them. I think that's what with him. Like you know, in the fall, you know, you win or you lose. In the spring, there's win or loser drills, but you got to learn why you lost it. So I think that's what he's saying. Of, you know, no, we don't want them to make mistakes, but like, why did I make that mistake? I don't need. There's no. You know, I need to sit and figure out. Well, maybe because of this or that. Like, was it my technique? Was it my understanding of the play? Whatever that may be. And then they have to go do that and learn from that. But then they can't be repeat offenders. So like, you make a mistake, okay, great, learn from it. The next time that shows, the same thing can't happen again. How do I correct it? How do I get better with that? And so, like, starting with today and this Saturday, we'll get a little bit of a scrimmage going on. That'll be really good for those guys going to play the game and then understanding, like, oh, I lost that rep and it was a sack, it was a TFL, or look what I used my technique, I did that and we made the play.
Do you shorten that leash every day now through April 15th?
In regards to, like, I mean, we don't accept the mistake. Is that what you're saying? Like, we can really shorten the leash.
Like you're kind of giving, like Zen said, that you kind of give them the runway to correct the mistake. By April 15th, you want to see, no mistakes at all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you're striving for. Just so I said that you don't want to be a repeat offender. I missed the rep. I missed, Jack beat me in this pass rush. Why did Jack beat me in this pass rush? Not because, well, Jack's a really good player. There's a reason for everything. So identifying that, seeing that, and then correcting that technically, fundamentally, is it schematically, where we've got to sit there and I got to say, you know what, I got to put you in a better situation. But yeah, you're trying to dwindle those down through spring.
A couple more questions, folks.
About Josh Frye's confidence. When did he give you the confidence that now he's the guy who it seems like it could be his job to lose it?
I haven't said that, so if he said that too, I'm sure. Hopefully he didn't say that either. He's building his confidence, which will make him play better. Nothing's set in stone. I mean, it was just day 4, like I just said. I think he walked up. We've got 11 left, and plus another 30-some in the fall. So, but if he feels that way and is playing that way, then his play will accelerate and get better. But last year, I mean, he was 6 and he was grinding and he was game ready every week, and we found ways to get him on the field. And when his number was called, he would go in and make those plays. And so now, when there's an open spot in front of him, that confidence should help propel him into saying, "This is my spot. I'm going to own it."
There was clearly a decision made at some point that last year he had spent all his time on the right side, either guard or tackle, and now he's.
Well, he played on the left in the tight end stuff, so I mean that's right hand, left hand, so that helps moving guys from side to side. Guards can play both ways. Matty Jones played some guard and some center, so you got to play your 5 best. So yeah, the transition of that stuff will help. But back to the initial point, he's building a really good, confident foundation for him, so he can play some high level ball.
How do you see Jacob James factoring into the center competition once he's healthy?
He's having a great spring for him, the best he can. Every time I turn around, he's behind me. He's like, "Coach, what's the call? Where's the fit?" You see him watching the tape. He's doing exactly what he has to do to be ready to come in and compete in the fall, right? And so I'm really happy with what he's doing. He's a pissed off bulldog sometimes sitting back there because he wants to be in there and he can't, and that's fine. But he's doing exactly what a guy that can't be taking the physical reps needs to be doing right now, so that when he is, given a leash and let go to go play, he's doing a really good job with that.
For Donovan Jackson, he mentioned that there was a conversation in the winter with you two, just about maybe switching to tackle, but then ultimately deciding to stay at guard. What do you take away from that conversation, his willingness to stay at guard, maybe the good of the group?
Well, we just had a good meeting of, like, he wanted to know what the plan was, what his, where do we see with him, because just like all the guys with Donnie, like Donnie's an elite level player and he wants to play that way. And Donnie's also a team guy, so he wants to do what would be best for the team. So our conversation off of that was just simply like, what do we see as our plan? And I mean, could Donnie play? Yeah, Donnie could play all 5 positions. He's that athletic. He could play outside, inside. He could he'd have to, cut the things off his wrist, but he can snap if we needed to. I mean, he's that smart and he's that athletic. So just keep wiggling through spring. But I mean, right now he's in a really good groove at the guard position. enhancing his skill set. You know, maybe doing some more trigonometry stuff. Whereas a guy like Austin Sierraveld is still using his abacus and counting 1, 2, and 3. But they're both doing numbers right now, which is good.
How have him, Josh, and maybe come along in the first couple of practice here? What have you liked about them?
All of them have come along. You know, I alluded to earlier, like those freshmen and those rookies right now. April 15th should be about prom time normally for them. Instead, they're getting ready for a spring football game. And so the extra practices and the stuff they're getting is good for all those guys. And the best thing about Luke and Austin and Josh and Miles, all like for mid-year guys, you haven't seen that like, whoa, overwhelming feeling yet. The rest of it, yeah, they got a long way to go. Josh is playing with a lot of confidence right now, and he's working the game, and he's seeing the things that he can enhance, and he's finding his warts that he's got to fix. And then, you know, a guy, you know, Georgie's doing a good job too behind him. You know, I mean, that's another guy that George has just now been here a year. So, I mean, George Fitzpatrick last year you asked him about, and he didn't know, you know, which shoe was right and left and how to tie him. And now he's 298, 302 pounds. He got his black stripe off today. You know, he's playing better just because he's another year mature and bigger and stronger. So just really excited and having fun where everybody's at a little different level, but everybody's getting better right now.
Coach, thank you.